Alright then, welcome to Tuesday Night Edits, episode 6, and it's the beginning of Poppy season. For anybody that's actually waiting for this broadcast to start, apologies for the late start. My computer decided to completely overheat. I do like to restart it before each live stream, just to make sure the memory's clear and all that. So when I walked out of the room to get a drink, came back and here's the boot screen all up, and it wouldn't let me reboot because the CPU was overheated. Joy of joys. So that's probably something I need to buy, or something else I need to buy as a new computer. It has been making a bit more of a din than normal, to the point where it's pretty damn loud. So hopefully you can hear us, hopefully you can see us. If I bring up chat, I know some of the boys are in there already. Yes, Andy, the beard has been whipped off. It's summer. Well, it's whipped off as much as it ever is whipped off. I don't think it's had a natural razor or a electronic razor near it for about 8 years now. So this is as unbeardly as you'll see us, unless you knew me in the previous life. So like I said, it is poppy season, or the beginnings of poppy season up in the northeast. And over the last few years, since I've taken photography a little bit more seriously, just bring up something to show you. I've always gone down, well, since 2012 anyway, I've gone down to Bamburgh, and there's a patch of poppies on the south side of the castle in the dunes, just outside the village. Gone there almost every year, apart from 2014 by the looks of it, to get a shot from there. Where did I hide these pictures? There we are. So each year my styles changed significantly from the initial go, and has developed in, brought into being my ICM work, and it's now, I don't have a younger brother, Andrew. It is all me. This is what is usually behind that weathered, gruff exterior. So anyways, I have, like, as my styles changed, gone from traditional landscape through to the more abstract stuff, and using ICM and processing, then it has changed quite a bit. So I thought, 2018 is a new year, so obviously a new season. So I've got to make this year's image. So I'm not sure if the data I shot there last night is going to produce this year's image, or whether I need to go back and shoot some more. It is still fairly early. There's a few out. I better not say that there's a lot out, or otherwise I'm going to lose a viewer, as Alan's probably itching to get out the door to go and shoot them himself. So first up, I was going to show you what I've shot in previous years, my hero images from the beforehand. I'll bring them up, dump it onto the right screen. Hopefully you can see that. This was 2012. A fairly normal poppy shot, obviously quite heavy on the processing. I've always, that processing's always been my thing. Trying to polish a turd and all that. This was taken. I think this was actually taken the day before the longest day of the year. So like pretty much towards the end of June. It was a very foggy night with mist hanging in the dunes. Very pretty. So I think these were shot at 10 o'clock at night, handheld. Just had to ramp the ISO up, because even then I did forget to take my tripod at places. We move on to 2013 and this pretty abysmal shot of the poppies by the roadside, Bamburgh Castle in the background at suns, as the sun's going down. I was that disappointed with these images at the time. I think this is the only one I've actually ever processed from that batch, and even I can't really polish this turd, so less said about that one the better. Jump ahead, skipping a year. I think I had a wedding, a wedding to shoot in 2014, so I obviously didn't do any photography around about May and June time. Then I think all energies were going towards stressing about shooting that wedding. So skipped ahead to 2015, and we are almost Rothko like, very heavy reds, very abstract, no shape in there whatsoever. And you just make out a line of what would be, the shape that Bamburgh Castle made within the image is just this lump here. That was 2015. 2016, got a little bit of definition back from pure abstraction in the year beforehand, a bit more pictorial. This was very much getting in close, right up close to the poppies, but retaining the shape of the castle in the background. I pretty much missed all the poppies, so this was towards the end of June, where the last ones were only just out. So hence, going right tight in, and there's not many of them around, so that's why there's a lot of green there. Moving on to last year's image, which for some reason is one of my most popular images out there. Alan, who's in chat, was there at the time that I made this. So was Callum and Anita, and they all didn't see an image and went off and played on the beach, whilst they were all chatting away, deciding what they were going to do, complaining that there was no cloud in the sky. I saw all the sunlight hitting, the last of the sunlight before it disappeared behind the bank that the castle sits on. Was just lit up a portion of these poppies. I thought, well, I can do something with that whilst everybody's blabbing. So I grabbed a load of data, shot quite a few images there, and I think this was the first one I edited, and it came out that well. I decided not to edit any more, so I haven't touched any more images from that night. This was, I liked it at the time, but I didn't think it was going to be as popular as what it was. Thanks, Alan. Very kind of you. And also, this was the print that was given away with the book that came out last year, if anybody bought that. So this was the image that was voted on as being the print that was going to be given away, and it won it out of the choice of 3. So that is last year's images. So this year I grabbed a few shots last night. I've been through and picked out a few possibles to work on, so we're going to go through for that. Thank you very much, Andy. That's very kind of you. I still take some convincing. I like it, but I don't see why it is so popular. But anyways, I only made it. I've got no choice in these things. What was I going to say? Yeah, if you are watching live, the chat is open. If you didn't know, because obviously at least Andrew and Al are in there. Always nice to see everybody. If you're watching on catch up on after the broadcast, do leave a comment below the video. Comments and likes and all that kind of stuff obviously help with algorithms, and we all seem to have to fight for a bit of visibility on algorithms. So if you can do things like that after, that'll be great. It helps me out, and it makes sure that I actually continue to put these videos out. Because obviously, normal vlog stuff can easily get double the viewers to what a live stream does for some reason. Probably because this ends up being over an hour's long, and everybody just takes one look. I'm not watching for an hour. So I think that's what housekeeping for today. I've already been prattling on for 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to rattle through at least one image here and see what we'll come out with. But firstly, I'll show you the raw data that I made last night. Alan can make his judgment on whether he's going to nip off now to go and shoot everybody. Shoot everybody? That sounds bad. Shoot the Poppies himself. And so I might lose a viewer if I show these, to be honest. Let's switch these over. Lighting conditions, for all it was very foggy last night. It was still quite bright when I was down there. It was still early in the evening. So getting nice movement was pretty tricky. But we got I got a few captures that I see potential in being able to work with. So this one's obviously quite detailed with minimal movement, a bit more extravagance. And this one, same with this. I was fighting with the light, really. There's too much detail being retained. Obviously, where I shot these, there was a stop. That's probably not the best. There's a stile here that gets over this fence. This was probably the most dense patch of poppies there was last night. There is another bigger patch elsewhere, but they were very much. There was maybe only 5% of them were in flower or had flowered. So there's still a lot of poppies to come. I was definitely trying to make the fence a feature in this data, so I stuck right by it and grabbed these images with varying movements, bit of twist and movement, small movements, playing with the exposure. The shutter speed as well. So obviously this one's a slightly bit darker. Quite like this element here of the fence post and the wire, which I thought I could build on, blending more together. And that's pretty much the untouched version. Yeah, Alan, I think there'll be more back end of the week. I would say there'll be more out, because elsewhere, that's the big. This is the big patch, and there's a lot still to flower. There's only a few out. I even did a panoramic of it, so you can see there's not much out there yet, and it hasn't been that sunny today, so I don't think it'll all of a sudden flowered during the day. So decision time. Need to start thinking about how I'm going to blend these together, or which image, which captures I'm going to use. There's a bit of detail in that one which I think I'll use to keep some detail from, so it's not just all colour or smudges is what I would call them. This one for a bit of looseness, for all it'll be misaligned, but we can use the looser feel for these fence posts on top of the other capture, and then also bring in these twisted versions. Obviously this one because I liked that element there, and what I'll actually do is probably match the exposure so they all match this capture. And that one I quite liked, and I think some of these other ones would fit in with a different image, and I'll only make another image if I've got time. Develop. Right, so I'm just going to make sure that this will actually change the exposure so far. Yeah, let's see, these have all darkened down a bit. To match this exposure, these ones have been brought down as well, which is what I wanted. Until the point I've started to fiddle around with them. This base image and then sync everything across. I'll have to redo the match exposures. So stick this on the landscape for a bit more depth of colour. Let's see what auto does there. Use a nicer red. Boost the contrast a touch. Bring that highlights down a bit. Bring the shadows out a touch. Obviously, when we do the lens vignetting or getting rid of the lens corrections, these areas are lighting a fair bit, so I'm not worried too much about shadows at the minute. Add in a bit of haze. It was foggy. The camera doesn't always capture that in in a pleasing way. It can almost alter reality. So sort the camera profiles out, and then detail will knock out the ISO, clean that up a bit, sharpen it a touch. That seems to have not need any dust spotting on that one. So I think straight away we'll just sync all them settings across the other images, but then again need to match the exposures. So hopefully that's darken them down again. I think it did it. Must have done. Right then. And we'll chuck those over into Photoshop as layers as usual. And doing all this is probably why my computer is overheating all the time, because it's having to process all these, as well as having sort of encode the live stream and all that before it throws it up into YouTube. So it's all a bit stressful on the poor little thing. It's done 7 years hard labour, so it's doing alright really. Just needs to hold on for a little bit longer though. If you're out there, do say hello and chat. Don't let Andrew and Alan hog all the keyboard. Do say hello. Ask any questions if you've got any. Alan might even tell you where these poppies are. It's not that hard to find or even get access to, unlike these super secret bluebells, which are coming up in a vlog not in the too far distant future. Should be a couple of weeks' time. If you didn't know, I did actually publish a vlog last week, back end of last week. It's been a long time coming, so I finally managed to get one out. Right, just gonna see how these blend together. Do the usual scrolling through the blend modes. I'm almost liking that. Maybe with a bit of refinement. We'll see what else we've got. Yeah, I think I might just have a go at this one where it's the light and blend mode. I'm just gonna play around with these layers. Bring a bit more visibility of that in. The lighting, I'm not really sure if its positioning in the stack has any effect on it. It probably doesn't. No, I didn't think so. You see the fence post here, and the wire. That's what I'm finding nice about this image. And I know, I'm just wondering if I move that across, will it? Because it's the light and blend mode, will another layer obliterate it? Hopefully not. I'll put that in place there. So yeah, I can't really. Certainly this layer here, I can't use the left hand side, so I may mask that out. So just with the gradient mask. Hi David. Three flights just to get to Tromsø. My word. But actually, I'll bring that across here. So it's leaving this part in, but it's also using this layer to add a bit more over to this side of the image. Gonna dial it back a touch on the opacity. I think this bottom layer does nothing. You can obviously mix and, I was going to say mix and match blend modes, but you can mix blend modes to achieve what you, or help achieve what you might want. So soft light will, I was going to say, darken it a bit. It'll give it a bit more body. Just conscious that it's not going to spoil this area too much, which is my main concern. It's not too bad. Just take a bit of the dark out of there. That's the only thing, is that I've got to get this right first. I want to change that to multiply. With gradient masks and things like that, if you use just in normal mode, you can basically only do it one movement across the mask, but to get two or more, use the multiply mode up here. So that's one little trick if you didn't know that. Yeah, that's a lot of frights. Cool. I think it's 23 years since I was on a plane. So doing three flights in one day is just batshit crazy to me. But anyways, hopefully they've all been good, David. Alright then. See what we can do here. I'm thinking I would like to bring a bit more definition in of the fence. So I'm thinking it was this third layer. I just move that up. No, maybe I shouldn't leave that there. I think if I duplicate that layer, turn it to dry multiply, probably going to be too much. Turn it to soft light, maybe overlay it. Right. But this makes you realise that I have no idea where these images are going when I start them. So, yeah, sometimes I have a rough idea at the start, and then sometimes it just halfway through just isn't going to work. And now the computer starts playing funny buggers. Try multiply. So what I'm really looking for is to get some of these fence posts that you can only just make out to be along the back here. I have to bring the opacity up a touch, and I'm also going to have to mask out this hard edge. Transform this, try to turn it a touch. See you, David. Stay safe. Enjoy work. Right, and then the challenge is to try to get these to blend in a pleasing manner. So there'll be lots of gradient filters. I picked the wrong direction as usual. Maybe not too bad, and I might actually just manually darken this area just so there's a bit more uniformity. Maybe just lighten this corner as well. So to do that, I think we'll think tone curve. I like to use curves a lot. I think it gives you a bit more precision. When working with these kind of images. No, I'm not going to drop that too much. Alright, see you David, see you Andrew, say hi to Thomas. Hope Megan's exam have been going well. We'll catch you later. Right then. So those are left in the chat. Do say hello. Let us know what you're thinking of this so far. If you're watching on catch up, don't skip straight to the end to see how it turned out. Drop a comment in. Let us know what you think. So I'm just gonna paint. I'm going to paint this in. I'm going to mask some of this, give it a bit more uniformity. Hopefully that's left a better darker area here, and now I'm going to do another curves adjustment to lighten this corner. So new curves layer, and brighten that right up. This might take some sweetening in mind, so there we are. That wasn't too bad actually. Although I'm doing it the other way on because it's... So I'll just undo all them. I think I might just have to do with one and just leave it like that. Yeah. I think if it was that. Yeah, I'm starting to mess things up now. So, quite happy with that as a base, I think. Or do I need a colour tweak? Just add in a touch of yellow to green things up a bit. Hopefully that'll give the red a bit more contrast. Right. Now normally I would just, you know, I'll work on an image up to a point and then go right through it into Analog Effects Pro. Well, I'm quite liking this. I mean, if I could crop it, or maybe crop it square so you know the wire fence is just in it. I'll cross here, down here, and then you've got this darker corner, which I think I'll save a version like this, but I will do the Analog Effects Pro work as well just to see what that does. So I'm just going to save this at this stage, and that'll dump it all across in the Lightroom. Weight and age, still going. For anybody that's interested, I am still yet to work on my Patreon page. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's where people can get paid for stuff. by making things. Well, by producing content or like a monthly subscription. And I haven't even set mine up properly. I made one donation category for a couple of dollars, and I had my first patron on Patreon this weekend, which was out of the blue, seeing as I'd only really activated the account, I hadn't filled it in. So thank you to Denise for being my first patron on Patreon. Very kind of you. So once I do get it all filled in, there'll be tiered rewards. So maybe my presets might be on there for like a monthly, as part of one of the rewards for the monthly subscription. Along with other bits and pieces, you may get credited in a video or something like that as well. So if you're interested in that, when I tell you, head across to Patreon, and it'd be great if you could support us in that way. Every little helps in sticking petrol in the car and all that kind of thing, so I can get out and make these images. Right, so that's saved and back in Lightroom as it is at the minute. So we'll throw this into Analog Effects Pro 2 and see what can come about of it. Hopefully you can still see us okay. Getting darker in here, and I haven't put the light on yet, so, and I haven't got any fancy lights behind my computer desk that lights my face beautifully or anything. So most of the time it's a good thing, so it's preferring, to me, like being backlit would be better, so you don't have to look at me. So yeah, one day I might get some light panels or something and put them up there, so I'm better lit, but at the minute there's other priorities. I like the way this computer sounds, a new computer. Right, just scroll through my presets, see if there's anything remotely usable. Some of it, color-wise, or like the darker feeling that I was having. I was thinking there's a couple there that stick out that maybe just need a small tweak. Maybe it's one of these images I can get 3 or 4 versions out of. Then you end up just picking the best one and publishing it. I did see one further down that I was going to go for first. Looks like it was above that one. This one, Weeping Poppies. When did I make that preset? Oh, I know what Poppies. That was the First World War memorial, where it comes out the the Tower of London when it came out the window. The porcelain poppies. It's when they came up to Ashington and they set them up, so they were up the side of the old pit mechanism. That's when I made that preset. So that had me wondering there. I know my memory's terrible, but right, adjustments here. I'm not really liking the colour, so I'm going to knock out that film type and the levels and curves just to see. And I think basic adjustments, too bright, bring that back to 0. See, back nearer a base image. It's a bit better. Less detail, I think. You want it a bit more painterly. Gotta wait for the computer to catch up. So that's quite a vivid red. I'm gonna add that in. I'm gonna scale that back. But then again, I like the darkness of it. Ooh, I like that darkness, but no, I think I'm gonna keep. I'll keep that out. Oh. Yeah, I'll do the color adjustments in the levels. So I'm just gonna zero all these back to north and switch that module on. Luminosity, bring this back a bit more. There we go. Oh, this is one of the things about having a slow computer. Takes a little while for each menu adjustment to kick in. Boost the highlights a touch up there. Flatten them out a touch. They didn't need to be as dark. Very small adjustments on the curves here. So, see where it is there now. I'm liking it in this area. Well, then again, I'm still yet to maneuver the second exposure, so it might change it quite a bit. And also, this is getting very dark in here, which isn't ideal for when I come to print it. If I get to the point of printing it, which I should do, I'm also going to knock the lens vignette off just to see what. That's probably been affecting it a lot. Yeah, it has. So I could leave that area darker, but taking, move that across because I want to retain this feature here, and I don't want to darken that corner too much. The one that's stuck behind my head on the screen. This corner here was getting far too dark. So I'm -12 and that's fine. This is where I start getting really finicky. Start overworking it. Now you can overwork an image when you're painting. So they say, not that I'm a painter. But they reckon you get to a point where you're starting to overdo it, overwork it, doing too much work on it. I was at that point there now, and this is really just positioning the second layer in a place where it's not. I was going to say it's not having too much impact. Position it when where it becomes pleasing. You actually zoom all, enlarging it. You can enlarge it up to 400%. So obviously these, say this poppy here, in the second exposure, that's going to be 4 times as big. So you can maybe use that to fill in an area with red. It's very much, making the images intuitive with movement, and then the processing's intuitive. It's intuition as well. It's just you get to a certain point and go, yes, that's it. And as I move this second exposure around on above the main image, just waiting for that waiting for that moment to strike where I was go, yes, this is it. Still waiting. Actually really nice there. I think it's that patch of red there, but on the second exposure is this blob here, and that's really nice on there. So I'm wondering if that could be moved. I'll move that around. Maybe it's not that much. This is one of the problems of this old machine. Had it been a better machine, it would, you could swing it around and it would update as it went round, but this is very slow and you've got to wait for it to render. I'm just going to take it back across a bit. The only problem with this is then you know, when I'm now losing this area here of the main exposure, which is why I was thinking about turning it. Let's turn it and be extreme and turn it right the way up there. Also, this is why some images take 4 or 5 hours to get finished. Because I'm never bloody happy. There's no such thing as a 10-minute edit in my world. I think back up here. I think this might be why it is still a bit too early in the poppy season. There's not enough poppies in the image. Actually, that's quite nice. There's not enough poppies in the base data to bring the final image together. But having said that, that second layer of poppy filling in that area there is quite nice. And there's still you still got the fence post there, wire, and the cow slip stuff, whatever it's called. Just behind the fence there. Yeah, so there's a little bit of detail, so you can almost tell what it is. The only thing is these reds up here, but it's just one of the things about the system. It would be nice if you could, within here, you could mask in and mask out areas. It'd be nice if whatever development of the Nik Collection DxO are doing, that they address something like that. My guess is they won't. They'll probably ditch this module altogether and just concentrate on, you know, remaking silver effects and color effects pro. You know, knock them up to versions 3 and 5 and probably forget about quite a bit of the rest of the package, because I think Analog Effects Pro, I don't think there'll be that many people actually using it, sadly. So I can see them just, well, not forgetting about it, but not doing anything major with it. Unless you're watching this, DxO. Be nice to give us a look of any development before it's released to the public. Would be lovely. So, you know, there's pretty much how I make my work. So if it ever went the distance, which it nearly did when Google stopped it supporting the Nik Collection, I was a little bit worried. I also did have to go and try to figure out how to do a lot of this stuff just in Photoshop using layers and things like that. So yeah, I think I'm happier with that. I think the final image will be a crop. I'll chop out some of this area here, maybe chop out the top here, So I think we'll just commit that. And that's save to a new layer. And if this does it reasonably quickly and fires back into Lightroom fairly quickly, I may have an episode out done and dusted that's not more than an hour long, which would be a change. No, don't touch. Right. I've just broken the laptop there, which wouldn't have been good. Right, so this is now back into Photoshop, and we'll do a save as, because this is the second image we've made from this edit. Let's just call that edit 2. Scroll to the right place. Save. Okay. Right. Laptop making too much noise. Yes, I might do a side-by-side comparison of, you know, what I would say was the part-way there version of this, and then the analog effects affected version of it. And you can stick a comment in the comments which one you prefer. Come on. 60% saved. God help us if I ever got a new camera and it was more than 12 megapixels. And saved, right. Come back into Lightroom. So we should now have, yeah, 2 versions. So that was the one that I sent back in the Lightroom partway through, and then the analog effects on. Stick them as 3 so I can fin them again. Look at this, just a few tweaks just in Lightroom. You know, you can always still edit later on. Not later on, I meant, you know, these are thrown out as PSDs or TIFFs or whatever. You can still do edits. You know, all the sliders are there. I think the only thing that's not quite as comprehensive is the white balance sliders. Clarity, I think, would help with that image. Yeah, knock a little bit of haze out of it. Not too bad. And the second version. Alright. Blacks down a little bit. I think I'm actually going to do more on this side of the image with a gradient filter in Lightroom as well. Bit of clarity, not a lot, just a touch. Just really to affect these darker areas in between the flowers. Just a little touch of haze removal. And I think I'll do that graduated filter. Slap that across there. Pull that back there. Right, done. Too bad. To some of you, this might all look a mess, but this is the work I produce. This is why it's not for everybody. Crop wise, again, 1:1 is an option there. One option. Going to create a virtual copy and just try another crop. Try 4:5 this time, just so it gives it a bit more width to the image. Again, I'm trying to miss out these pinky areas up here. Well, not miss them out, but maybe one more for luck. And come here. And go for a long thin one. So I'm going to bring that in. Actually, I might need a 9:5, 16:10. Is that fatter? Yeah, 16:10. It just gives you a little bit more room to breathe on the top there. 16:9, like. Actually, 16:9 looks good. Native resolution immediately ready for screens. Could nearly sell it as a wallpaper. Alright, so that's the analog effects ones done, and then this was this part finished base one, and I think this one is really just a case of a long narrow one, a long narrow strip again. One of my favourite 9:5 crops. Done. Add in some vignetting. A bit of a roundness. And I'm just gonna, no, not that one. That one is what I was meaning. Brighten this corner out. Actually, maybe just do a soft one all the way across. Just a touch, so really just affecting this left hand edge. Done. So that was version 1. Which I'll give that a 4 actually, so I can find it. 4. And this one was, give that one a 4. Select that on there. So leave a comment. I'll just put that full screen. Move my ugly face out the way. Back to full screen. Full. Depending where you're clicking. Right. So that's version. We'll call that one version 1. And version 2, which was like partway through the edit. So leave a comment in the below the video there. Let us know which one you prefer. I'll stick them both out on Twitter after as well, just so you can give it a better look. that would help you. So yeah, just shows. I mean, to me, it also shows that I don't always need to go into Analog Effects Pro to finish an image or create an image. That one, you know, this version here was made just by blending stuff together in Photoshop base. Didn't need to bring in another plugin, so you don't need to have all these extra little tools. You can make these images with, you know, just Lightroom and Photoshop using the blend modes. You can do it. Obviously, the more you've got, more tools you've got at your disposal, and the more knowledge you've got is obviously helpful. So yeah, all about learning your post process and getting out there, doing something different, and using your imagination, which is, I think, quite a hard thing to do for a lot of people. You know, don't be scared about doing these things. I am trying to formulate a video on, you know, top 10 reasons to do ICM, to try ICM, intentional camera movement, or do a lot of it. So I'm going to try to write something along them lines and post that as a video sometime. So keep an eye out for that. That's one idea I've got. So if you've got any other ideas of what videos you'd like us to do let us know. Just leave them in a comment or tweet me. So yeah. So I think we'll call that an episode. Thank you all that's watched along live. Thanks, Alan. Version 1. I got confused myself there. That'll be the Analog Effects Pro one. So yeah, everybody that's watched live, thanks for watching. Hopefully I haven't stuttered far too much this week, as he stutters trying to say that. Like I say, do like this video if you've enjoyed it. Share it if you think it'd be great for anybody else to see. Subscribe if you're not, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Andrew S. Gray on both. Once I've got Patreon sorted, I'll let you know about that. And I think that's about it. So yeah, we'll see you next week, hopefully, for more Tuesday night edits. It may well be more Poppies, depending on what happens in the next few days. Might even see Alan later in the week to shoot some said Poppies again. Never know. So yeah, until next week, people. There may well be a vlog on Dodo Stone Circle coming out in. It may not be out by the weekend, so maybe early next week. We'll see how things go on. There's a few things I need to get out of the way first. So yeah, right. I'll not keep you any longer. Thanks for watching. For anybody that's watching on catch up, well done on sitting through all this. Congratulations to you. And we'll see you next week. Catch you then.